Guys, how are you all doing? Today we got a great live with Andy Krueger. We're going to be talking about ring sports. We have been obsessed with videos, obsessed with watching all the jumps for a while. So we're stoked to have Mr. Andy Krueger join us to answer all our ring questions. Let's see. How's everybody doing today? Nice to see you in the afternoon. Hey,
What's up?
Andy, how's it going?
It's going good. How are you?
Good. Nice to see you in real time, and I
Right.
am excited to talk to you.
I'm excited to be on. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So we have been obsessed with your videos, and not just loving the work that you do with your dogs, but also your upbeat attitude. You're hilarious.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Of course. So can you talk a little bit about your background and where you're located?
Yeah, so I'm an Ohio boy. I'm an Ohio boy, born and raised. I'm about 30 minutes out of downtown Cincinnati, so right at the bottom of Ohio, but we have a gorgeous property. We've probably been here about 6 years now. The Dog Oasis, as we call it. Nice 7 acres, big pond, everything fenced. So it's pretty sweet. It's a pretty sweet place. I think I'll be here forever. So if I have any stalkers, they will know where to find me, unfortunately. But yeah, that's my place. How I got started in dogs, I got into dogs in like 2009 and totally fell into it. Didn't know anything about training, didn't have any like grand plans to be a dog trainer, didn't even know that like a dog trainer was a thing. And then long story short, I just kind of fell into it. I met a group of guys that would train like police dogs, and like they had this little building downtown, and they're like, hey, get in a bite suit. And maybe I was brave, maybe I was stupid, maybe both. But like I was always up to just like get in a suit and do whatever. And I never got hurt somehow. And they're like, man, this kid's awesome. So I just kind of I stuck around there for quite some time. And then a couple years later, all those guys I was training with, they started getting into French ring. And they're like, hey, you're gonna do French ring. And I was like, all right. And I've been doing it ever since, I guess.
That's awesome. Very cool. So, when you were younger, did you grow up with dogs?
Grew up with dogs. The first dog we ever had was a Cocker Spaniel. And one day, me, my sister, and the babysitter took the dog on a walk, but like we couldn't find the leash. So we're like, let's take it off leash. And we walked around the neighborhood, and then it got hit by a motorcycle and died. So that was the first dog I ever had. So we definitely an epic fail on that one. Buffy, God rest. But I was like super young, like young. We then got a golden retriever who was like great dog, like a freak of nature, just insanely crazed, was a bolter. Like if you opened up the door, it was gone. Like gone. We lived like right on a highway. So like I can't tell you the amount of times I'm like running down the street towards the highway, like trying to catch my dog. This dog ran away like regularly. Like we're terrible dog owners. I think it would just run away, but always came back safe. So that was cool. So I had the golden retriever, and then after that was like high school, and then my mom always had doodles, like golden doodles. That's kind of when doodles like started to become a thing. Is like back around that time when I was a youngster. So doodles, golden retriever. My dad had labs, but just always pet stuff. We didn't do like any training. I didn't know anything about that, but you could definitely say like you'd find me all the time just like laying on the floor with the dog. Like that's just what I like to do. Like I was I was better friends with the dogs than like the kids at school probably.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I feel like it's cliche for like dog trainers are always like, oh, I've always loved dogs, or like, oh, I grew up with dogs. I'm like, well, yeah, that's everybody ever. But I did always love dogs, always grow up with them, and was pretty inseparable from them.
Mm-hmm. Well, you can tell from watching your videos that that being around dogs definitely brings you a lot of joy. You seem very,
Nice.
very happy. So,
Thank
yeah,
you.
we can see
Yeah.
that thing.
Well, I never thought about it that way, but thank you. That's cool.
So, so you had doodles, you had the Cocker Spaniel, Retriever. When did you get introduced to the Malinois?
That's when I started training with that little club in Cincinnati in like 2009. I had no idea what a Malinois was. I'd probably be that kid that was like, Malinois? What's that? Like that probably would have been me. No, I'd never heard of one. I've never seen one. I just started training with those guys, and a couple of them had them, and they're like, "This is a Belgian Malinois. They're badass. Put a suit on." And I was like, "Okay." And like really shortly after that, like the first time I worked the dog, I was like, "I'm gonna have to have one of these at some point."
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I got introduced. Probably like 2009 is when I got introduced to the Malinois, and it was just like, I'm like, yeah, that's it. For me, that's it. That's the dog.
Mm-hmm. That's it. Sold. So, okay, I know that you are a super select decoy. What does that mean?
Super select decoy, it means you're a badass.
I gathered that.
No, just kid. A super select decoy. Okay, so French ring, it's a French dog sport, obviously. It involves agility, obedience, and protection, bite work. Um, but what a lot of people don't know, there's levels for the dog, level 1, 2, and 3. But what a lot of people don't know is there's levels for the decoy too, and there's actually decoy competitions. So not only do they French Ring, the organization, not only do they host events where people compete with their dogs, but they host events where decoys compete amongst each other. So when you're a French Ring decoy in French Ring level 3, your goal, your mission is to steal points from the dog within the rules. So the handler tells the dog to bite the decoy. I'm the decoy and I'm going, you're not biting me. You ain't biting me. And the longer it takes for you to bite me, the more points you lose. So if I'm dodging the dog, if I'm holding the dog off, if I'm confusing the dog, that's all the points going out the window. So a decoy competition is who's the best decoy? Who can steal the most points from the dog within the rules?
Okay.
So, and the super selection, when you're a French ring decoy, you're level 1, level 2, level 3. Level 3 is hard, very, very hard. There's none in the US right now. Level 3 is hard. Level 3 is the super selection. That's what competing as a level 3 decoy, that's what that is.
Mm-hmm.
If that
So
makes
what,
sense.
yeah, it does. What do you think separates? So if it's very hard to get to be a level 3 super select decoy, what is it about you that has those qualities?
Oh, man, that's a good question. Shoot. Now I might just have to brag on myself a bunch.
Let's hear it.
Hey, but when I start, I'll tell you this. When I started decoying, I was horrendous, terrible, even training dogs, terrible. You know how people go, well, I've always been kind of good with dogs. Not me. Not me at all. Terrible in a suit. And the guys I was training with, like, seriously, after months, were like, you know, this isn't for everyone. There's no shame in not doing it anymore. So like back in the early 2009, 2010, I could have never imagined getting to the level that I am today. And I think what gets me there is, like, for better or worse, I just never quit anything. Like, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's terrible for me. But I just couldn't stop decoying. I tried a couple times. I'm like, screw this. I don't like this. But I just always kept coming back to it. And then at a certain point, it was like, all right, well, this is what I'm doing now. Like, I'm kind of stuck in the game. Like, I don't really have a choice here. And then, you know, I started to develop the mindset of, if you're going to do something, why not be the best? At the end of the day, you're going to have to feel some kind of way. So why not feel like the king, to me? So I kind of was able to develop an attitude of, like, by any means necessary, as long as I keep showing up, I'm going to get there. And that's what I tell everyone. You know, I'll get a lot of messages about, like, any tips for decoying or whatever. And it's just keep showing up. That's all you have to do. Just keep showing up. Just keep getting in a suit. Some people's paths are longer than other people's, but you can't go wrong if you're just physically there at your club in front of dogs. Just keep showing up. And that's what I did. And that's a quality that I have that allowed me to get to the top level beyond any of my wildest dreams of decoying. It was just, for some strange reason, I just wanted it really bad. I don't know why. I still don't know why. It's just my thing.
Well, awesome work. Hard work pays off.
Thank you.
I know
Hell yeah.
I know you mentioned the decoy tips, but can you kind of elaborate on that a little bit from Edgar? What are some good decoy tips you learned throughout your experience?
Some good decoy tips. Don't get bit in the hands or the face. Don't get bit. This is a good decoy tip, and this sounds silly, but it's true. When you're in front of a dog, French ring, Mondio ring, Schutzhund, Belgian ring, whatever, protection. When you're in front of a dog, only the mouth bites. Well, duh, Andy. Everyone knows that. Only the mouth bites. So I'm looking at the dog's mouth at all times. My eyes never leave the dog's mouth. It's like hitting a baseball. It's like hitting a golf ball. If you go to look where the ball is before you hit the ball, guess what? No good. Watch it all the way through. Same thing for catching or working a dog, for technique, for training, for safety. Only the mouth bites. Don't be looking around the room. Don't be looking at the dog's butt. Focus on the mouth at all times. And depending what sport you're in, for French ring, you are catching the dog, maybe dodging the dog is absolutely the most important thing. Jamming a dog, the dog hitting a brick wall is no good. The dog's safety is always number one. You have a suit on, so I don't want to hear any crying. You have a freaking suit on, okay? No one cares about your safety. You're fine. The dog's safety is number one, so you always watch the dog. You always watch the dog's mouth into the bite, and you always absorb the dog so that they don't crash into you, hurt their neck, other things, bad things. So whoever asked that, I don't know if that helps you at all, but that's the first thing that comes to my mind when I hear that.
Okay, eyes on the mouth. All
I
right,
don't know.
let's talk about the actual game. Can you talk about the objection of the game and how it all works? Like break down the points.
Yep,
And all that.
yep. So leave it up to the French to make things exponentially complicated. Whether it's their cooking, their baking, their dog sports, everything's just insanely complicated. Like try making a French pastry. It's 17,000 steps. So like I'll just break it down simple, okay? French ring for the dog, there's 4 levels, okay? You have a brevet, ring 1, ring 2, ring 3. Brevet, introductory level. Like I don't even think brevet is considered a title, maybe a certificate. It's an intro level, very simple. You're on the field 10 minutes, couple bites, couple obedience, easy peasy. And I can go into more about that. Brevet is like baby, infant for the dog. Ring 1 is baby. It's light, it's easy. We want to see the dog succeed. If you mess up a ring 1 dog, it's like if I beat up a 3rd grader. It's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? So ring 1, very light, very easy. Ring 2, teenager. So the work gets kicked up a notch. We start showing some things that'll be in ring 3, but unless your dog is like a total wreck, it can survive a ring 2. So there's a progress. Ring 3, you don't bite me. Ring 3, you're dead within the rules. So the levels, it's a very gradual progression. The baby, the teenager, and then the grown man. So the way ring 1, or let's go brevet, 100 points. You need 80 to pass. Ring 1, 200 points. You need 160 to pass. Ring 2, 300 points. You need 240 to pass. Ring 3, 400 total points. You need 320 to pass. So that's how those points are broken down. And so, like, let's take brevet. You have, and I might mess up some of the points here. I'm not like a Rain Man with the rule book, but whatever. You get the point. You get the point. I don't want to hear all the ring people out there like, oh, Andy said that was 10 points and it's really 8. You get the idea. Okay, but so in brevet, you're going to walk onto the field. You're going to have to perform a heel on leash in a specific pattern with specific rules. Let's say that's, 6, 10 points, whatever. I'm terrible. I should know that. And then you have to do an absence of handler where you put the dog in a downstay, go behind a blind, 1 minute, come back, get the dog. Okay, you get your points there. Healing with muzzle, and then you're going to have to do a food refusal. So you have 2 healing exercises, the absence, and a food refusal. And then your obedience is done. There's no jumps. That's all, those 4 things. And then you're going to have to perform a brevet defensive handler and a brevet face attack. And both of those are 30 points. So all of that adds up to 100 points. You need 80 to pass. So it's like, if you blow your face attack, if you zero it, like, you're done. Mm-hmm. You're done. If you blow the food refusal, you can still squeak by and have the ability to pass. But like those bite work exercises, if you blow those, that's a big hit. Mm-hmm. Big hit to your score. Like, for example, let's say you're going to do a face attack, which means your dog hauls ass down the field and attacks the decoy. So you put your dog in a stay until the judge authorizes you to send them. Well, if your dog breaks the line, if your dog goes early before the command, 0. So, something as simple as a stay can cost you your French ring title.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I mean everything, and then as you go through the levels, they add jumps, they add retrieves, they add position changes, the heights of the jumps start to increase, the amount of time you're on the field starts to increase. A ring 3 is like 45 minutes straight, all with jumps at maximum height, 7 bite work exercises. So the conditioning is insane that your dog has to have, but it all builds up. All the points get more and more as you go. And of course, the more difficult it gets, the more rules you have to know. I believe it's maybe one of the hardest sports to be a handler in, because the amount that you have to know up here is, I mean, it's crazy. There's judges that still carry around a rule book because they have to check stuff. I mean, the rule book's like 1,000,000 pages. Like, it's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. But that's kind of
so
like
cool.
a rough general breakdown of the points there.
Mm-hmm. I love it. I have more questions to ask on that, but right now we have Canine Rex. In dog sport, does a dog get DQ'd for barking at decoy before send out?
No. I mean, it's not good, but for French ring, your dog could be barking the whole time as long as they perform all the exercises to the rules. Doesn't matter. I prefer a dog that's real quiet, but the dog can bark his head off the whole time, no problem.
Okay, another question. Are the dogs allowed to bark? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Going off of that, can you, for the first, with French ring sports, the dog is not judged by like their attitude, right? Like how joyful they look or body
Right.
language, let's say.
Right. They're not. There's certain things a judge might be able to ding you for, but kind of like some old school training is the dog gets a very high score, but they look like poopy the whole time. Like they're just they just don't look good. So it's not like it's not like a Schutzhund where it's about that performance of the dog and the obedience. So yeah, they're not going to get docked for it, but like it's definitely not going to look great,
Right.
But you're not really going to lose unless it's like so drastic to the point where the dog like isn't performing. But they can look a little deflated. Like here's the thing about it though that's tricky. When you're getting into like high level French ring training, you need a dog that has the drive to do it. So stupid high drive, but they need to be under like the utmost control, precision. 1 second matters a lot. The whole time, 40 plus minutes, no equipment, no corrections, nothing, just commands. So it's like, depending on the dog, for them to be able to perform at that level of precision in a trial, you'll see some trainers want to take them down a couple notches in training, because if they're here in training, they're going to be here in a trial. If they're here in training, they're going to be here in a trial. So with French ring, it can kind of be a delicate balance of like getting your dog tight without making them be like, don't hit me, daddy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that could be, if you see some ring videos, you could see the dog looking like not very Schutzhund-y. And, that's the reason for it. Either it's really bad training, or they've been kind of taken down a little bit so that they don't blow up on the field. It's a tricky balance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, relating it to like human beings, I think when you're more focused on something, let's say like scientists, naturally you're not gonna be as, let's say, like entertaining or like like exciting if you're talking, like if you're like calculating equals MC squared. You know, it's a
Right.
different kind of
Yeah.
like mindset. Uh,
Yeah,
anyway,
totally. I hear you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Is French ring easier or harder than IGP?
Uh, apples and oranges. Apples and um I will say this, and I love IGP. And I hope to compete in it one day. I've done a little bit of it, but nothing worth mentioning. It's totally different. It's like, you know, who's better, this boxer or this MMA guy? You know, they're different disciplines. But I will say that the bite work in French ring is a lot more complicated and difficult for the dog because there's exponentially more variables than there would be in an IGP. So I believe that, you know, and I'm not like, I love it. I'm not being like, oh, it's way harder. But I mean, it's definitely different and harder. The ring bite work, I think is the hardest on earth. I mean, I'm a French ring guy, so I'm biased, but I think that titling a dog with a good performance against good decoys in French ring level 3 is the hardest thing you could ever do with a dog ever. Ever. I don't care if it's a trick dog, agility, search and rescue, seizure alert, Schutzen, whatever. Like I do believe that against top level decoys, ring 3, maybe a championship, that's the hardest thing that you're gonna, as a dog trainer, it's the hardest thing you're ever gonna do with a dog ever. And that's why I got into it. I tend to get into things and then just shoot for the most, you know, ridiculousness ever. So that's what keeps me really interested in it.
Awesome. Okay, Canine Rex, how do you suggest to cap a vocal puppy while laying down the foundations at the food learning stage? Thank you. Okay, this is a training question.
That's a good question. Like a barking? Is that what he means?
Yeah, cap a vocal puppy while laying down the foundations at the food learning stage.
Yeah, you gotta not have that. You can't have that. And this will be a long answer, but I think I'll get to it. When I started in dog training, the way that I was taught is like you put a harness on the dog and you get the dog really excited with a sleeve or a toy. They bark a whole bunch and then they get it. And then they bark, bah, 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 bah. Yeah. And then you give it to them. But I don't do that anymore because I don't believe in that anymore. I love a very good bark, like for sure. That's like my favorite thing in a dog. Don't get me wrong. But like as a puppy, the dog shouldn't be barking at all. Like I don't see what, you know, maybe they're in their crate and they like want to get out, or they're like behind a gate and they see your other dog and they start barking at it, you know, like whatever. But like in the training process, the silence is golden. So for a puppy, laying down a foundation, I would, you know, I just look to hone in my food work. I'd have a high value reward. I'd be hand feeding quite a bit. I'd have a leash on the dog, a leash and flat collar, maybe a little slip lead. And if they, bah, 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 I'm just, hey, feet, ooh, ooh. And then every time they start to vocalize, I'm not going to choke them. I'm not going to look to stop it right away, but I'm going to disagree with it every time. And every time they get a little yappy, I'm going to go, oh, hold on. Oh, you don't like that? Oh, good boy. You know, of course, I'm generalizing. It's everything's a little different, but I'd look to disagree with that right away. A lot of people that I see on the social medias or whatever, training puppies, they get the puppies too pent up. Like puppies in a crate, puppy comes out, food, heel, training, goes away. Comes out of the crate, Bite work, back in the crate. Comes out of the crate, luring, back in the crate. I feel like a lot of times people, we want to build a monster. No. The puppy's lifestyle probably has to do with some of that frustration or vocalization. Maybe it doesn't have enough time out of the crate daily. Maybe it has too much time out of the crate daily. Maybe it's frustrated because it's in the crate all the time. Maybe it has way too much free time, so it's developing vocal, mouthy, bad habits. So I look to tweak the lifestyle and get it perfect. I'd really get my hand feeding and luring better. And I'd have a little leash and collar on just in case when they start going off, I can go, please no, puppy. Good boy. You know, that kind of thing.
Good advice. Okay. I'm just looking at these questions up here. All right, Bash and Bane, back to French ring. Object, guard, game, and intro steps.
Great question. I believe all the Mondio people disagree with me. That's okay. I'll talk to you guys later. I believe the French ring object guard may be the most difficult exercise in all of dog sports. I think it's the hardest thing you can do as far as an exercise is concerned. The Mondio people might be like, oh, but I think it's the hardest. A good decoy, okay, an object guard, for the people that don't know, you get a basket, just like a wicker like basket, fairly large. You get a basket, you set it down, and you tell your dog guard, and you go and walk away out of sight. Then it's the dog's job to work independently, as a decoy has 3 attempts to come in and try to steal the basket. So the dog has to guard it, and daddy is nowhere to be found. Dog has to guard it. Decoy wants to take it. So that's the game between the dog and the decoy. Can I steal your basket? Can I trick you? Can I somehow trick you? You know, like if someone has like a guard dog, like a junkyard dog, they're chained out and they're just nasty. You can't come anywhere near that junkyard because that dog will eat you. And you start thinking about ways that you can trick the dog. Like, what if I threw a T-bone steak at this dog? So I feel like that's where the object guard comes from. It's like the dog knows his job is to guard, but can you trick the dog with your skill to get them off track, make them nervous, make them forget about it, get inside of their head? Can you move the basket? Can you get close enough to touch it? Can you move it? Can you take it? There's nothing cooler than watching a really good dog and a really good decoy play this game. It's freaking sweet. And there's all kinds of rules about the dog. Like, picture it this way. If here's the basket and then the decoy's 5 meters, 15 feet over there, and the dog leaves to go bite him, I mean, he's not guarding the basket. He's just attacking a decoy. So they have to stay on there until the decoy is like within grabbing distance. No commands, no handler, like nothing. So I think it's the most complicated thing to train. Foundation, yeah, you start it right away. 8 weeks old. 8 weeks old, you need to start the object guard. You get yourself a little tub, a little box, something that the puppy can like lay on and get on. And I mean, you start it from there. It's tough to explain how to train, but I'll take a puppy on a harness. I'll hold them right on top of that object. Before this, I'll already shape with food, just the puppy like laying down on it. So they already kind of know to go down on it. So I'll take them on the harness and I'll stick them right on top and I'll hold them. My decoy has a little puppy sleeve that he starts walking in. And then when he gets real close, I'll let my puppy go. They'll bite the sleeve. I'll let them win the sleeve, and I'll hold them right back on that basket holding the sleeve. Good boy, good girl, good boy. I'll then get the sleeve from them, and we'll start the process again. What you want to look for when you're starting this is the puppy only gets a bite when they're stabilized. So if you're holding them and they're just trying to go, I'm not giving them a bite there, because they're being rewarded for wanting to leave and abandon the basket. I want them, okay, I'll stay here, boom, and then they get it. So like capping the drive, you know how you see, like, you know, someone will get a puppy and they'll have it on a back tie and harness and just agitate the crap out of it for like 6 months. No good. No good. Not for ring. Okay. Not for ring. Maybe personal protection, but no, for ring. I want that dog laying there very calmly, waiting until very close, and they know it's their time to get the sleeve. So start it like that, and then a million steps later, you'll be there.
So something like the object guard, how long does it take for the dog to learn that behavior?
Well, you know, there's levels to the object guard. By the time a puppy is like 12, 16 weeks, like it could have a decent idea of that exercise and how to do it at like a very training level. But, you know, put it this way, my dog's almost 6 years old and we still have a good bit of work to do on the object guard. So there's levels to it. If I just had to put a number on it, by the time the dog is 9 months, a year old, I like to see a pretty decent object guard. Not against the very best decoy trying to screw them up, but they should have a pretty decent, I stay on here, I grab, I let go, I come back. They should have a pretty decent idea of that game. 9, 12 months old.
Okay.
If I had to put a number on it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Can we talk about the different jumps?
We can talk about the different jumps. Yes, ma'am.
All right. When do you start teaching your dogs how to do the jumps?
Good question. I think every trainer might tell you something a little different on that one. Depends who you ask. I know French ring trainers that by a year old, their dogs are doing all the jumps at max, which is a lot. Some people will be like, well, that dog's going to have a short career. That's pretty hard on a 1-year-old's body. So it's possible with the right dog to achieve all the French ring jumps like max by a year. I'm not recommending it. You know, I think maybe a little too hard on the dog, but it's possible to get there. When do I start the jumps? You know, I might be starting them around that time. You know, I might be formally starting the jumps 9 months, a year, but like low, very condensed to what it'll ultimately be, the least amount of impact on the dog's body possible. Right off the bat at 8 weeks old, I mean, I'm having them not jump off stuff, but I'm having them jump onto things, jump off something small, just kind of getting all the mechanics going. And then as they get older, I'll up just random stuff that they have to jump around on. But formally, like starting to train those jumps, I look for the dog to be like not done growing, but like the height they're going to be, you know, like reaching their size. They're always going to put on muscle and fill out and whatnot. But like 5, 6 months old, you could do it. But me personally, I don't need to. In the French ring sport, the dog must be at least 1 year old to compete. For me, with my current ring 3 dog and then the ring 3 puppy that I have in the works, I don't like to step onto the field until I'm like ring 3 ready. So like brevet, ring 1, ring 2, like I knock those out quick, like ring 3. So I probably won't step on the field until the dog is over 2 years old. So I don't need to have all the jumps trial ready by a year, like ever. That's just me. Some people like to compete at a year, but 2.5 years old is a good time for me to start knocking out the brevets and the ring 1s and whatnot and starting to get to the higher level. So, the short answer I'd say is I'd look to start getting those really going by about a year.
Okay. What was the last off breed to get a ring 2 or higher title?
A ring 2. There's a border collie that got a ring 1. That was pretty sweet. Ring 2 though, an off breed, probably like there's like a German Shepherd count. Probably like German Shepherd, Doberman. I've never seen anything else get a ring 2. Because you know what the thing is, like ring 1, you can do it, but ring 2, like the jumps, like the search and escort, holy crap, for an off breed, it would just have to be, that'd be really hard. But I have seen a border collie get a ring 1, and that was sweet.
All right. What's the last thing you teach the dog in prep for FR?
The last thing? I don't know. I'm a believer in showing the dog the whole program from day 1. So, for example, the stopped attack. It's when you tell your dog to bite downfield, and then at the last second, you whistle and call them off. I like to start that immediately as a puppy. A lot of people will teach bite, 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 bite. And then when the dog's a little bit older, we better get that call off. And I don't believe in that, because then you've lied to the dog their whole life. You've always told them they were going to bite. Then one day you wake up, you're like, no, you're not biting anymore. So I believe in showing them everything from day 1, right off the bat. Oh my gosh, but Andy, a stop attack, won't that kill all their drive? Nope, sure won't. So everything from day 1. So I don't think of like the last thing I teach them, but to sort of answer that question, prepping your dog for a trial that's coming up, it is a lot different training than teaching your dog the French ring program. It's different. Same with a pet dog or anything else. It's like you go through a teaching phase, you go through a proofing stage, but then there's trial prep. A fighter getting ready for a big fight, they have a training camp. For 3 months, 2 months, their diet and nutrition is dialed in, their sleep schedule, their training. And then when they don't have a fight coming up, maybe they're just hanging out eating pizza. So with a dog, it's not the last thing I teach them, but leading up to a trial, my training is going to be different than in like a teaching or a proofing stage, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm. It does. It's I always like a lot of the dog training stuff. I think about ballet, and I want to bring in like how I basically like am learning through all this. Point shoes would be the bite. You train from. I started dancing ballet at 3 years old, and you're in ballet slippers up until you graduate to point shoes. And the goal is you always want to get your point shoes. It's a big deal. It's a huge, big accomplishment. But you spend like 12 years as a girl, like wanting those point shoes. And there's some directors that may want to like appease, let's say, the parents, like, oh, my daughter really wants her point shoes, like give her the point shoes. And the director's like, no, she's not ready for the point shoes, like she's gonna ruin her, she's gonna hurt herself, she's not fully developed. and like, you know, patience, like maybe next year,
Yeah.
or like, you know, you have uh, the one dancer who is ready for point shoes and but might be like 8 years old, you know, and
Yeah.
it just all comes down to like each individual's genetics, each individual's daily time committed to the craft, to the sport, to the art.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think of like like the bite sleeve and the decoy and like being introduced to all of that. I think like there is such a big art and like um, accomplished aspect to it. Like you
Yeah.
have to like really understand what you're working towards. You know, I find myself like, oh shit, like we don't have a sport. Like, oh my God, like we're not doing anything. It's just like us here, like at home. Like, what the hell am I doing? But it's like, okay, like let's think, like take your time, like, you
Yeah.
know, figure out what we want to do together. Like, yeah, we could do these small exercises here, small exercises there, but
It- that's a great example with the ballet. It's extremely similar. It's an art, it's a skill set, and everyone's a little bit different with it. You know, I'm sure with like ballet, you know, you'd have a girl who just worked her ass off for a decade and is like pretty good. And then you have a girl come in that's done half the work and she's twice as good, which can be similar for dogs too. You have a dog, you do all this work with it, you achieve this kind of bite work, but then you see a dog who's half the age with twice the amount of skills. So like that genetic gift with this particular art definitely plays a factor, you know, because you're using your body too. You know, it's not just like painting. It's kind of a physical thing, but I mean it's a pretty accurate comparison, and it's definitely an art. You know, like I consider this my art, not to sound like a whatever, but you know I fancy myself a bit of an artist. I don't know. it's the interesting thing about that because it's like you're never finished. You know, it's like the war of art. You're never finished. It's never for me like it's never good enough. I'm never finished. Having a kind of mentality like that, and you know when you achieve like these accolades, like you know you get the specific kind of shoe or slipper that you were talking about. You know, I feel like for me, like sometimes when I like get these accolades, I'm like, okay, that was it. Like I thought it would feel different. You know, I thought I'd be like, man, you know, I made it, but you know, I'm kind of like, okay, well, I got that. I got my level 2 decoy certification that I worked so hard for, and right after I got it, I was like, yeah, it's about time I got that. Shit, level 3. You know, like, um, so that's kind of the struggle with the dog sports. What's the deal with what's up with your dog? I see you got, was it like a little 1-year-old Malinois that you got over there?
yeah, right, yeah,
Nice,
yeah.
nice, nice. Any plans for any sport stuff with her?
Well, I mean, we definitely want to get involved in a sport. I am, to be completely honest, I am obsessed with watching ring videos and like
Nice.
ring sports. Uh, Again, no experience. Also, like, I don't really like even know anyone here that does ring sports. We just moved to New York. PSA obviously feels like the natural, like kind of the easy. I feel most comfortable with the PSA people, you know, just because people, you know, Jonathan Cap, you know, like
Oh
I've
yeah.
been exposed to a lot of PSA. I mean, I think it's a lot more popular. Um, but I, I, do you
Yeah, I
think
mean
it's more popular?
it's an American dog sport, you know.
Yes,
So in
that's
America, It's way bigger than ring. Like ring in the States, it's so niche. It's like there might be like literally like sorry, but like literally in the States, there might be 5 like legit guys, like trainers in ring. There's more clubs, but like there's very few legit people. If you walk a mile, you've just passed 30 ring clubs with really good dogs and good decoys and all of them. Like in France, French ring is like football here. I mean, it's just it's massive. They fill stadiums. Like so, if you go to France, PSA, they've never heard of that. They have no idea what that is. They don't care about that at all. They're like, what? But yeah, here in the States, it was made here in the States. It was made by American guys, and it's more accessible to people. You know, like I said, the French, they like to make things extremely complicated, which I like, but for the average person that's just has a dog and wants to do something, I mean, ring sport might be the damn hardest thing to get into, but I recommend it to anyone. You know, if you want to do ring, if you want to do another sport, there's really something to be said, and you're probably gonna have to travel. There's something to be said about, you know, loading up, going to a seminar, traveling, getting on a plane, and going to these seminars, because like myself, I've been in this in decoying since 2009. I was at a seminar yesterday. I was at one yesterday and I loved it. And I was like, I mean, there's very few guys at this point that I would be like, tell me what to do. But this was one of them. And man, I came home so inspired, reinvigorated. And, you know, every time I go to a legit trainer's seminar or I train with them, like I'm always humbled. Like, I don't know that much. I really don't know that much. So like, if you're at home all the time and you're just doing it all on your own, like that's good, but there's nothing like the inspiration and like the motivation that you get from training with these guys. And you need to be able to see the other levels. You have to see the levels. So like when I went to France for the first time, I saw the upper level. I wasn't on the upper level quite yet, but I saw the level. I was like, you know, like I peeked up over, I was like, oh shit, look at all this stuff up there. You know, it's like a video game. You reach a new level. I don't play video games, but it's like you reach a new level, and I was like, oh shit, it's pretty cool up here. Oh man. And I was like, oh, I got a lot of work to do. So the art of dog training and dog sports, French ring specifically, there's always another level that you're not aware of. You only know what you know. You know, you only know what you know. So I went to, I'm a fan of Bart Bellin, famous trainer. I tell you what, I've been training dogs for a while. I thought I knew a whole lot of stuff. And I went to one of his seminars and I left like, oh, I don't know anything. I was like, I don't know anything. I better learn dog training. And I was just like, I came home and was just like super motivated and was just grabbing dogs left and right and trying this and that with them. I had like 50 clickers. I'm just all over the place. So I recommend that to everyone. If you're getting into dog sports, you get yourself a nice, large, reliable vehicle, because your ass is going to be driving. Your ass is going to be driving. I got people that come train with me regularly that drive 8, 12 hours. And they come for the weekend. They come for 3 days. They come for a week. And that's what it takes. You know, another sport, it might be more readily available, but it's part of the fun for me too, though. A little road trip, got the dog, you know, it's not a vacation, but it's enjoyable, but you're advancing your craft. You're investing in your knowledge and your future. And That's what you got to do. There's always people a lot better than you. There's always people a lot better than you. You know, when I got started in dogs and decoying and training, there was no iPhones. You know, I'm old. I'm old. No, I'm not that old. There was no iPhones. There was no Instagram. I mean, Facebook was a thing, but it was like nothing on there. We weren't filming stuff. We weren't. If we wanted to film something, we have to get the camcorder, and then we'd have to like upload it on a computer. We weren't filming stuff. We weren't doing. So nowadays, I kind of feel like now everyone's a dog trainer. Everyone's just a dog trainer, and now like everyone's a decoy, and they're film this, film that, and they're posting this and they're posting that, and everyone's like, oh my God, that was amazing. Oh my God, you're so good. You're so good. So now with like Instagram, now you're getting like all this praise like all the time. And now I feel like, you know, people in the industry, like they feel like they know so much more than they know. And they get like a false sense of what's out there because they're in their little, you know, social media thing. So I guess rant over, but I guess my point to all that is like always know that there's a ton of people that are a lot better than you. And if you want to be the best, like I do, you're constantly in search for that knowledge. And when I show up somewhere to train with someone, I'm not saying crap about me. I'm not being like, you know, I went to France and did the super selection. Oh, dude, I'm such a good decoy. Oh, dude, you should see my dog. I show up. I'm like, hi, I'm Andy. I'm here with my dog. Yep, this is what I want to work on. Okay, I think you should do this, this, that. Okay, cool. Thank you. Thank you very much. And then I leave. So to be at the top level, you always have to be in like a state of learning. You have to love being a student. I love being a student. Like, you know, I have some training videos here and there, but I don't feel like I'm in you know, a position to be teaching people. I feel like I should be out there learning more, you know? So I don't know what my point to all that was, but there you have it.
No, very well said. It's a long game. It's it
Long.
takes a long time. So I think that is really important what you said about, you know, making these big treks out to the seminars, whether you're driving or whether you're flying, because it really is quality. You know,
Yeah.
it's like what you're about to embark on is going to hold a lot of weight compared to the weekly, you know, trip to, you know, 15 minutes away or, you
Yeah.
know, it's,
Yeah. You know, you got to stay on your grind. You know, you got to, every day you wake up, you have your training regimen with your dog. You're going to work this, you're going to work that. Maybe you check out this video, you check out that video, and you have your, you know, your daily, your weekly grind with your dog. But you got to be somehow online. You have to be networking. You have to be finding out, you know, who are the best trainers in the discipline that I want to do, and then how can I train with them.
mm-hmm.
Back to the social media, it's like now it's easier than ever to get a hold of people. I mean, you can just message someone on Instagram. People message me, they're like, God, I can't believe you responded. So it's like sometimes good, sometimes bad, but it's easy to get a hold of people. And it's like you have your normal grind with the dog, but then you're like, okay, in 2 months, I'm blocking off this week because I'm road tripping to this place. And I'm super investing in my dog training future, my brand, my knowledge. And you make those trips. You do that a couple times a year. You do that every month. And when you start doing that, you find a trainer and you click with them. You know, you click with them, and then maybe you can set things up that are more regular with that person. You know, this is probably more for like sport, like French ring or Mondial, but that's the way that you have to do it. I mean, I flew to Spain to learn some decoying techniques from one of the greats. Like I had to cross the damn ocean. You can get in your car and drive, people.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, a question from Sasha. Favorite upper level exercise and why?
Face attack. Face attack. I love the ring 3 face attack. Nothing better. Nothing better. You know, you gotta, shits and long bite. That's cool. Mondio accessory attack. That's cool. The face attack is bad ass. Badass. That's my favorite to watch. It's my favorite to decoy. And it's my favorite to do with my dog. It's 50 meters. Okay. A meter is a little longer than a yard. So it's is a half a football field. You're sending your dog. They're running full speed. And the decoy's trying to not get bit. And the dog's trying to bite them, obviously. The decoy, if it's a good decoy, in his mind, he's not wearing a suit. Your dog's coming to mess him up. And he's thinking, the decoy, you're not going to bite me. I'm going to dodge you. I'm going to push you. I'm going to push you. I'm going to get in your head. I'm going to make you hesitate. And then guess what? Your 15 seconds is up. Exercise is over. Now you got to run home. You're done. So it's a true battle between decoy and dog with potentially extreme physical consequences. It's dangerous. A good dog, like a good dog's danger, not little Fluffy, but a good dog is extremely dangerous. They're going to bite you anywhere they can. They're going to bite you in the knee. They're going to bite you in the collar. They're going to bite you on the wrist. You might get your leg blown out. You might not walk for 9 months. I mean, with a dangerous, fast, technical dog, you better be good. You better get out of the way or you're going to get completely smashed. People in protection training and dog sport like, oh man, I got banged up so bad. Oh man, this dog, look at all these bruises on my arm. The dog banged me up. Oh my God, this hurts. I'm tough. That's cool. But you're not going to walk right for a year. The consequences are so much more severe than a dog that you know is going to bite here or a dog that doesn't have the technique to, at the last second, just grab you anywhere. So that's why the face attack is so exciting with a very fast, powerful, technical dog. That's a show. Someone going down. Someone going down. I love the face attack.
Awesome. All right.
Uh-oh, quiet, Fluffy.
Right there.
Damn it,
like
Rika.
I literally noticed that it's an hour once I can clock Rika or Andy, I am going to Rika. Oh no, that's Tito. I'm like, right, why Rika?
Who's Tito?
Tito is a 13-year-old rescue Chihuahua.
I was gonna guess a Chihuahua.
A Chihuahua mini bull terrier. So I actually adopted this dog when I was a reporter in Illinois. I was in the Quad Cities. I'm not sure if you know where that is.
Okay.
Close to Ohio.
Oh, sweet. Nice.
Anyway, yeah, Tito is a mini bull terrier Chihuahua mix.
That's interesting. I like it.
Yeah. So he's a special one.
Somehow I knew it was a Chihuahua. When
Yeah.
I heard Tito, I was going to say Chihuahua. Just knew.
Andy, it's so nice to chat with you. I have learned so much, and also the way I am looking at the videos and in terms of like decoy versus dog going head to head, really changes things up.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Thank you. It was awesome to come on. I appreciate you having me.
Of course. Thank you for coming on, and keep up all your content. Guys, if you haven't checked out Andy's YouTube videos, I highly recommend you do. They're
Hook your
hilarious.
boy up. Hook your boy up with a subscribe. Come on. I'm trying to do big things on that channel. Give me the subs. Create a YouTube account if you have to. Have your mom make one. Have a couple different emails. Make multiple. Get your boy the subscribes. I'm trying to do big things on there.
You're hilarious. I'll post this and I'll talk to you soon, Andy. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Pleasure. See ya.
Bye.